Good morning, everyone. And beginning before I start off with anything, if you have been in the service, if you've done military work, and especially those that lost their lives, if you have a family member that laid down their life for, service to our country, I'm eloquent today. I very much appreciate it. And I think all of us do. So while we're out having family barbecues and things like that, let's remember that this holiday is about those who served our countries and paid the ultimate sacrifice, things like that. And good morning, Tammy and Photo Lady 12. Let's see here. Christine, I hope you're having a lovely morning. Out and about with Diane. Mr. Mo dropping off laundry. Thank you, Mr. Mo. Let's see. Tammy, JKD Buck, Tammy CA, M Spire, good morning. Trying to remember everyone. Denise Sells, good morning. Sorry about that. We are trying to get Mount St. Laundry, trying to go through and do you actually wear this? Does it fit? And then if not, let's take it to, the thrift store, that kind of thing. And as you can imagine, for 8 people, it is a monumental task. So we're trying to get that done and getting things all together. Welcome, JK Debug. Thank you, our newest mod, for doing your modly mod duties. So our first story is rather sad today, but I will say that as a person who loved Duck Dynasty, I was a real fan of Phil Robertson. Now, I didn't read like all the books. I'm not deep into the lore of Duck Dynasty and all these sort of background characters, but I thought it was a good show. It was all about a family, kind of crazy, kind of hill chuck like mine, and their love of family and God. And I thought that Phil was a good redemption story because he never really sugar-coated that he made some really cruddy choices for his family, but atoned and became a really good person. So I do feel terrible for his family that have lost someone. Duck Dynasty star Phil Robertson has passed away at the age of 79, his family announced Sunday. Now, Robertson, who was famous for founding the Duck Commander Hunting Company that became the focus of his A&E show, had previously battled multiple health conditions, including Alzheimer's disease. The TV personality's daughter-in-law, Corey Robertson, announced his death on Instagram Sunday night. We celebrated today that our father, husband, and grandfather, Phil Robertson, is now with the Lord. He reminded us often of the words of Paul, "Do not grieve like those who have no hope, for we believe that Jesus died and rose again. So we believe that God will bring with Jesus, or will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep with him." Sorry, reading and apparently is not my forte today. Carrie added that the family will have a private service, but will share details about a public celebration of his life to come. Thank you for all the love and prayers so many of those whose lives have been impacted by his life saved by grace, his bold faith, and his desire to tell anyone who would listen about the good news of Jesus, she added. We are grateful for his life on earth, and we will continue the legacy of love for God and love for others until we can see him again. Years before becoming a famous person for Duck Dynasty, Robertson played football at Louisiana Tech, and he also was a starting quarterback while NFL legend Terry Bradshaw was his backup. I didn't know about the sports thing, but I mean, I'm not a big sports person, so I might not have been like, who is that? Robertson later founded Duck Commander in 1972. The Duck Dynasty television show premiered 40 years later in 2012 before it ended in 2017. During a December episode of Unashamed with the Robertson family, Robertson's diagnosis with Alzheimer's disease was announced. His son Willie Robertson later spoke to Fox News Digital by phone, saying that Phil was battling a lot of different things. He's got a blood disorder, then some mental issues that could be early onset Alzheimer's, and probably some mini strokes because of the issues with his blood, Willie explained. And so it could be some stroke stuff happening, and the other stuff that's happening, we're getting it checked out. But there also has this back issue. He fractured his back, and that's where the pain is at. So he's kind of battling a lot of different things at the same time. In April, Robertson's family member opened up about his mental condition again, which appeared to be grim. The number one question I get everywhere I go is, how is your dad doing? Well, now I'm just going to give the blunt truth and say, not good, his son Jace Robertson said. We're making him comfortable and we're doing the best we can. And I think that's just what you can do. And as someone who has lost her mother-in-law after a battle with Alzheimer's, I can say that it is a special kind of hell to have to grieve someone while they're right in front of you. And I was a bit removed because while I was, a daughter in her heart, I hadn't grown up with my, mother-in-law for all of her life. I knew her for the past 14 years, but I can imagine it's a special kind of hell to have your mother, your husband, your wife sitting right in front of you and they don't remember you. It was hard when she didn't remember me, even though I was aware that she wouldn't remember me. So, that being said, I hope his family has time to privately grieve while we all publicly or, in our own way grieve. If we, had some fun with Duck Dynasty or anything like that, it is just such a hard thing for any family to deal with, whether, famous or, regular. We all have to deal with the same things, and sometimes these things just suck. So be kind to each other. Could we? Just a little bit? Well, I don't know if this one can, benefit from that kindness thing, but he is benefiting from, well, terms of service, or not so much anymore. I'm not going to go too deep into this one, mostly because I think Hassan Piker is just dumb. And this goes more into political stuff, but it does look like Hassan Piker has been kicked off of Twitch after making some, well, stupid hot takes. So I will try to edit this from all of the spin while we go. So Hassan Piker has been booted off the streaming platform Twitch after he suggested that the unaliving of two Israeli diplomats in Washington, D.C. looked like it could have been a false flag. Now Piker, 33, claimed that his account, which has 2.8 million followers, was suspended because of his critical examination of the manifesto that suspect Elias Rodriguez, wrote. So again, he's no different than any other stupid person on the internet saying stupid things. That being said, I don't think he's that funny. I don't think he's that entertaining. And I don't know how in the holy hell he has 2.8 million people watching him. But then again, cat videos regularly outrank me. And, when I get the choice between watching myself or watching a cat video, I'm going to do cats videos. So there you go. Hassan Piker is whining that he said some things about a current event that is very fraught with political, minefields, and then gets backlash from it. You're welcome. I don't really care other than read terms and services before you have a hot take. Now, I'm bringing back Final Form Jesus just for one particular person, and not as a derogatory thing, but I think she needs help. And look, her laugh wasn't really normal from the get-go.
G-Geeked Grove, thou gloaming shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, Final Form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Okay, y'all, so this is Final Form Jesus for healing, because I think Britney Spears might need Final Form Jesus at this point. And let's see, Lexi, Possibly by in the next 2 weeks, Mr. Mo, 2 or 3 weeks, Mr. Mo is hoping. Now that he's retired and can work on it all day, it's moving really fast. So now I have to do that thing where I start picking out colors and design, and I'm like, quick, what's what would Dolly Parton do? Which is my go-to to everything. And I was like, I need a wig and then I can figure this out. That being said, look, I am calling for Final Form Jesus to put his take the wheel, take the damn car away from Brittany for 5 minutes, okay? Someone, anyone close to her that's not trying to be, predatory towards her. What in the hell is going on with her? Just just what in the world? Britney Spears is sorry to those who she offended by smoking on a charter plane recently, but she claims she was not responsible for lighting up in the first place. I am okay. My friend put it in my mouth and lit the fire, so it was up to me like, oh, this is a plane. Where can you smoke? Well, Brittany, sweetheart, we were born past that time, that glorious time in the 80s where they had a smoking section, or maybe it was the 70s, where they had a smoking section in the plane and then a non-smoking section that was right next to it for, science and such. So, no, Brittany, you can't smoke on airplanes. I mean, I think that was changed mid 80s, I'm thinking. So we just missed it. The pop star, who is 43, wrote on Instagram, like, where can you smoke on a plane? So I apologize to anyone I offended, but the flight attendants always make sure I'm way at the back of the plane anyway. Okay, Brittany, sweetheart, you still can't smoke on a plane. God love her. Okay, also, Brittany, you are 43 damn years old. I'm gonna need you to stop typing in most of your message in emoji, okay? Look, sweetheart, we are Tawanda, we are older and have more insurance. And honest to God, if I had a choice between going back to being 24 and, uh, you know, having my 24-year-old body or being Tawanda and having more insurance and more fun, I'm gonna stick with Tawanda. But I'm gonna need you to put the emojis down, sweetheart, just for 5 minutes. Now, Spears brushed the matter off as actually like incredibly funny. Then a social media post that she shared, she's been on planes where smoking is prohibited, but thought that this one was different because the drink holders were on the outside of the seat. Well, you can be an expert for Canton now that you've made those observational, connections. She's like, but there was an ashtray. No, ma'am, that's a cup holder. That's a cup holder. Oops, I did it again. The singer confessed to drinking alcohol in her flight from Cabo San Lucas, Mexico to LAX airport. As sources told TMZ, she claimed it was her first time ever drinking vodka. Okay, y'all, I feel sad. She has arrested development. Again, as I say, I call down Final Form Jesus to fix this woman because she had so much broken from, just every single facet of her childhood. So, Final Form Jesus, please come back. And no, Mo will never be doing a cosplay as Britney Spears, no matter how much I get to a Britney Spears like body, simply because I can barely walk upstairs without gravity, my mortal enemy, foiling my attempts. Like hell, I'm going to be dancing with swords and knives. That's a no-go. So I hope she gets more, I hope she gets help from someone, anyone. And I think Final Form Jesus might be the one. Now, I can't. Final Form Jesus still applies to this one. But what in the name of Hades squared? Do what now? Do you want the T virus? Because this is how we get zombies. I don't know how the hell many times I'm trying to save people from becoming, the 12 monkeys or freaking outbreak or freaking virus. But no, people continue to try to bring upon the zombie apocalypse when I am in no way ready to run faster than most of you. Just all the time. An ex flight attendant was caught smuggling 100 pounds of a deadly new drug made from human bones and faces years in prison. Now, who do in her bra? What? A former flight attendant has been caught smuggling over 100 pounds of a deadly new synthetic drug made from human bones and faces up to 25 years in prison in a Sri Lankan prison. Bitch, you gone. Sorry, but ma'am, we all watch Broken Castles, okay? Claire Danes couldn't get out of prison. You are not getting out of prison. I hope you had fun. And God, your nurples are staring at me. Okay, we're going to a non-nurple. Daggone. Them were all pointing straight ahead. Charlotte May Lee, 21 from the United Kingdom, was seen at Bandarakandi airport in Sri Lankan capital of Colombo earlier this year after allegedly carrying a suitcase full of Kush, a new drug originating in West Africa, which unalives an estimated dozen people a week in Sierra Leone alone. Sierra Leone alone. Now, Lee from South London claimed that the drug stash, which reportedly has a street value of $3.3 million, was planted in her suitcase without her knowledge, her lawyer Sampath Parita told the BBC. She's being held in harsh conditions in a jail north of Colombo, where she has to sleep on a concrete floor through Perea, said that she has been in contact with her family. So, there you go. Now, the haul made on May 12th is the biggest seizure of the relatively new drug in Sri Lankan history. Customs officers posed proudly with the stash. Okay, it's made from bones. I think stop the whole story with the Nerpally airline attendant. What the hell is Kush? Like, what are weird bones? Just bones. Do what now? I have all the questions. Let's see here. Now, Lee had been working in Thailand when she was forced to leave because her 30-day visa was due to run out. So she decided to take a 3-hour flight to Sri Lanka while she waited for the renewal of her Thai visa, her lawyer said. I've never seen the drugs before. I didn't expect it all when they pulled me over from the airport. I thought it was going to be full of all my stuff, she told the Daily Mail from prison. She also implied she knew who planted the, bone drugs in her suitcase, but wouldn't name them. Oh, heifer, Sri Lankan prison, I am telling on you. I am telling on every single buddy but Hillary Clinton, okay? I am not staying in Sri Lankan prison. I don't care. They must have planted him. She said, I know who did it. Now, Kush, which is most popular with young men, causes individuals to fall asleep while walking, collapse unexpectedly, and even wander into moving traffic. I can see why you'd want to inject that directly into your eyeballs or wherever they inject it. One of the drug's main ingredients is reportedly human bones. An unstable desire for the substance has even led to ghoulish grave robbers raiding cemeteries in Sierra Leone. Now, the country's president has declared a state of emergency over the abuse of Kush last year, which security has reportedly been tightened around graveyards to stop them from digging up skeletons. Okay, dumb question here, and maybe you, like me, are wanting to ask it too. Do the bones make you high in any way? Because if not, why do you need them for this particular not straight legal pharmaceutical? Why are we robbing okay, whatever. Branding Kush as a death trap, Sierra Leone's president, Julius Maada Bio, said that the drug posed an existential crisis to his nation. Well, yeah. Lee flew out of Bangkok around the same time another young British woman who also is facing drug smuggling charges, also happened. So again, if you are going to these other countries who are very, very strict on their, you know, they're going to check everything. If you have drugs, you are going to be in prison for the rest of your life and or no longer living, then you need to keep track of all of your luggage. You don't let no one touch. You have no friends. This is Mordor. You do not make friends. You do not do this. You do not pass go. I don't know. I find it hard that she knows exactly who put this into her suitcase and she's not saying anything. Again, retribution, I understand that but just no. Don't go to Indonesia and, try to sell kush. Don't try to make kush. Again, if the main ingredient is something is the bones of your ancestors, like maybe just leave them alone. Like maybe your ancestors are like, nah, I really wouldn't. I'd rather just be left alone. That being said, I don't know much about anything beyond the Midwest, so maybe this is totally normal. That being said, we've come to the time in our show that everyone loves, and me most of all. It is time for Lord Chippy to meet his latest contestants.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
Well, this one, Lord Chippy might be sick. We're going to need industrial level bleach after this person. This, excuse for a demon hiding in a human suit, this absolute corroditated funk that you get. Like, look, we just did industrial cleaning on my three youngest, most feral boys' room, and there was something growing under my middle son's bed. He's like the whatever, that mystery stain that's on your couch. Just ugh. Anywho, this again thing abused vulnerable children at an orphanage that he founded in Haiti. He has been sentenced to 210 years, and I wish that he would bend all of that, with having to shave his legs every day and then apply lemon juice. A Colorado man has been sentenced to 210 years in prison for SAing children at an orphanage that he both founded and ran in Haiti for decades. Michael Glenfield, 73, established St. Joseph's Home for Boys in 1985 as a place for orphaned, low-income, and at-risk children in Haiti. But according to evidence presented at his trial, Glenfield frequently traveled back and forth from the United States and Haiti, where he would physically, sexually, and emotionally just destroy these children, for whom he was there to trust, to care for them, to give them a better life. He basically started this orphanage to have his veritable own, just smorgasbord of boys, I guess, that no one would really bother with because he was a good guy. Again, people who are industrial in their level of abuse, I'm okay with sending them to the sun. Now, he was convicted in February of one count of traveling in foreign commerce for the purpose of engaging in illicit sexual conduct and 6 counts of engaging in illicit sexual conduct in a foreign place between 2005 and 2010, with each of the latter charges related to a separate child victim, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. A U.S. District Judge, David Leibowitz, announced the maximum sentence he could inside a Miami courtroom on Friday, where those present applauded. The defendant preyed upon some of the most vulnerable children in the world, Leibowitz, who, according to a report by the Miami Herald, said, "That's what he did. This is not a metaphor. The trials, the crisis, the tribulations of the country of Haiti, and all it's gone through. This orphanage destroyed my childhood, a 24-year-old victim testified on Friday about the institution that Gleanfield had founded, according to the outlet. There is no amount of love that can make me forget. The only thing that can make me forget I have to leave this earth, only death. Now, 10 victims in total testified in the case, 6 directly involved in the charges against Gleanfield, and 4 others the witness or the DOJ listed as victims. The case was brought as a part of the Project Safe Childhood, a U.S. established initiative in the DOJ to battle SA and the exploitation of children. The defendant sustained physical, sexual, and emotional disgustingness of some of the most vulnerable children in the world is intolerable, said Matthew Galati, chief of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. For decades, Gleanfield used his position of trust and access to exploit vulnerable children under the guise of humanitarian work, added the Assistant Director Jose Perez of the FBI Criminal Investigative Division. We are grateful for those victims who came forward to report their abuse. And absolutely, for those victims who came forward to get this monster taken away so he couldn't continue to exploit vulnerable people to feed his own evil desires. Just great. I am so great. I'm so glad that he is. Look, Gen Pop Justice is coming his way. What will he do? Drop the soap today. Look, Gen Pop Justice, the musical, is a work in progress. Well, as a person who used to work with people with adults with developmental disabilities so that they could stay in their own homes, so they could have their own independence, because a lot of these people, my clients, would work in a factory. Yeah, it was small little, work. Did it produce as much as a real factory? No. But did my client, whose job was to flatten boxes, as people got done with boxes every day, could he tell me the number of boxes that he done? Oh, I got a whole, 45 boxes done today, Mo. Or, hey, Mo, did you know I got, this many boxes and I did this for the office ladies? Again, to belittle someone beneath you, again, is a true test of your character, because it's not how you treat people that you think are your equals or your betters, but how you treat people that have less, that are younger, that are, vulnerable, that really shows the, measure of your character. And it is just absolutely disgusting. Abusing this man beyond belief. Hidden cameras capture home health care employees smacking around a 29-year-old with autism and forcing medicine down his throat. Again, Lord Chippy, take 'em away. Like Calgon, take me away. 3 employees of a Texas group home are facing charges of allegedly abusing a 29-year-old man with autism by laying hands, smacking him around, tying him up, and forcing him to take medication. Tony Israel, 45, is facing assault against a disabled individual, while Benjamin Tamby, 53, and Harrison O'Deary, 52, stand accused of unlawful restraint. All 3 also face a charge of injury to a disabled person with criminal negligence. This is a heartbreaking case, Bexar County. Is it Bexar or is it Bear? I know, look, anyone from Texas, I know it's not Bexar. Is it Bear County? Or, look, I'm going to say Bexar, but I've heard from someone from Texas once, I think that is Bear County. Okay, then, for those of us not from Texas, why the F do you have an X in the middle of Bear County? That being said, well, greedy bloke, it means that you should be, as our better, you should be magnanimous towards those of us you feel are incompetent to you. So there you go. Basically, if it feeds your ego, you're being kind to your lessers. Javier Salazar told reporters at a press conference that this kind of case enrages everyone. Salazar described the nonverbal man as completely helpless and had likely suffered abuse at the hands of, these suspects during his 7 years at the facility. The investigation began on Thursday when the victim's father alerted deputies to the abuse at Manfu Home Healthcare on Highland Drive. Now, Salazar said that the father had suspected abuse, so unbeknownst to the staff, he inserted a secret camera in his room, or in his son's room. The sheriff's office highlighted 2 videos that allegedly showed the abuse. The men were allegedly captured on video trying to get the victim to bed, but he was being uncooperative and went into a defensive posture. The suspects then began smacking him around and tying him up with a sweatshirt before forcing him on the bed. In another video, Tambi and Odiri, they done messed with a disabled person. I'm not going to give 2 flying flapjacks if I get their last names right. Held him on the ground and squirted some liquid medication into his mouth. What we see is nothing short of abuse of this poor helpless man, Salazar said. It's pretty disgusting to watch that of these people who call themselves home health care aides abusing this man beyond belief. The sheriff credited the victim's father for installing a camera, which was vital in leading to arrest. Now, officials from the fire department did a walkthrough of the home and cited the 53-year-old owner for inoperable fire protection systems and prohibited occupancy. So not only are her, healthcare workers abusing her patients, her clients, but he or she is, making sure that it's a fire trap over occupancy. Wonderful, wonderful. Again, it takes a special kind of person to work with adults with developmental disabilities. It takes a special kind of person. And the only way you're going to get good home health care aides is if you pay accordingly. And I know companies don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear that they're going to have to, pay more for good people. But if you want qualifications, if you want certifications, if you want people to be educated and to have the spirit to work with these people and have the knowledge to deal with a lot of the incredibly difficult things that go on when you work with people with developmental disabilities, you're going to have to pay workers more. Otherwise, you are going to get fly-by-night places like this that just hire whoever because you're not paying a whole lot. And for $13, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, honest to goodness, helping people with developmental disabilities, some of them, is a lot like caring for a child. There are messes, there are restroom accidents, there are things that you are going to have to pay people to deal with. And those things are okay to deal with if you have the heart and spirit for this kind of work. There needs to be education. You can't just get someone off the street. Now, granted, this is what happened to me. You are playing Russian roulette when you get someone off the street, give them 3 weeks of training, and then throw them into a household with several clients with developmental disabilities. Now, it worked out for me. I liked it. There were a lot of parts of the job that stunk, but there was, those times where my clients were so excited just to go out to the store or do things or go out to see a parade or things like that they wouldn't have been able to do without, someone being in their home. So again, if we want to fix this, you're going to have to start upping the educations, upping the requirements, and upping the pay. This is not rocket science. But you hire, Joe Blow off the street, give him 3 weeks of semi-competent training, you're going to get a lot of mistakes. That being said, these people just piss me off because, like I said, I used to work with people with developmental disabilities, and there's the mindset. If you see it as them being oppositional because they're trying to defy you, no, it's not. This is just, again, you are not dealing with fully competent adults. You are dealing with adults who have several different ways that they can deal with being overwhelmed, being frustrated. And no, they don't have, that upper all the time that upper level reasoning that says, hey, I understand you're really, really upset about George getting to smush some boxes as a treat, and that's your job, but you can't hit George. Well, to them, you took my thing. I'm angry. I'll do this. Yeah, it's a lot like dealing with, children, and you have to be calm and you have to say, hey, I understand, but we have to work on controlling. Is there a better way we could have done this? Well, I mean, possibly. Now, I don't know. I'm getting ready to go on a little bit of a vacation, but mine won't involve as many felonies as this particular gentleman's. A Georgia murder suspect fled into Alabama and then tried to hijack a tractor trailer, prompting a manhunt. Again, if you're going to be, traveling, I would suggest Airbnb, not, felony, you know, B&E, but that's just me. After a manhunt spanning two southeastern states, a murder suspect has been arrested, but not before allegedly trying to steal a tractor trailer to evade law enforcement. Mike Thomas, 28, was in Fulton County, Georgia for shooting his girlfriend in the face. Okay. Oh, was wanted, not was. Was wanted. In the face? Police said, according to an Atlanta-based ABC outlet, WSB. Now, it is unclear at this time whether she passed away from the shooting or if her shooting had prompted the murder investigation. So even Law and Crime is a little confused if the murder investigation was started with the girlfriend or he had a previous murder and then the girlfriend's death or severe injury caused that. So we're not quite sure where the shooting the girlfriend in the face bit goes on this, felonious, adventure. Now, Law and Crime has reached out to Fulton County Sheriff's Office for a clarification. Thomas is said to have fled to Conca County, Alabama, and then to Baldwin County, where Baldwin County Sheriff's Office officers caught up with him. It was during a chase on Sunday, May 18th, where Thomas shot at pursuing officers. Now, the suspect's vehicle was stopped with spikes laid down by law enforcement, but he reportedly got out of his vehicle and ran toward a tractor trailer, attempting to steal it. The passenger in the truck said to have shot at him. Okay, so the passenger was packing, and he's like, not without my trailer, you. I mean... Now, to be fair, I think there is a redneck remake in there somewhere, ABC, not without my truck. Talk to me, Sally Fields. I know it wouldn't be quite as, poignant as your Not Without My Daughter, but come on now. It's a parody. Now, the passenger in the truck shot him in the leg. The defendant ran away into a nearby wooded area. The sheriff's office then called in SWAT as well as an air unit and tracking dogs. This is a shining example of how agency cooperation and teamwork leads to a successful outcome. Thomas has been charged with 2 counts of robbery, 1 count of assault in Alabama, according to Mobile Fox-based affiliate KALA. He's also reportedly facing several charges in Georgia, including aggravated assault, possession of a weapon as a convicted felon. Now, the suspect was reportedly taken to the hospital for a medical evaluation on his wound in his leg, and once released, he was then taken to jail. So all that traveling and still get a, yellow jumpsuit, just can't win for losing when you try to take crime on the road. Again, crime doesn't pay. It also doesn't travel. That's how you get federal charges, okay? For anyone who needs it, crime doesn't pay and crime shouldn't travel across state lines. That's a federal case. Now, hold the presses, a psychic was correct, and it only took 52 years to prove them right. A psychic correctly predicted the location of a missing college student's remains, finally found in a 52-year-old case, nothing short of a miracle. not a Markle. That's a wrong. I don't. Daggone it, New York Post. If you could ever put a video on that correlated to the article, I'd be flipping flapjack, just so stunned I might have a heart attack. I mean, honest to goodness, I might just lose it if like one day I come here and there's a article that actually matches the video on front up top. I might just like be so verklempt. Might have you talk amongst yourselves. A psychic correctly predicted where the remains of missing Utah college student who disappeared more than 50 years ago would finally be found, according to an investigator who closed the cold case earlier this month. The case of Douglas Brick, a 23-year-old University of Utah senior, active in several academic organizations when he disappeared from his dorm on October 12, 1973, has stumped police for 5 decades. Police and rescue workers conducted frantic searches for Bricks that October, but the case went cold for years. A breakthrough occurred last fall when a hunter discovered skull fragments in the foothills above the university and alerted authorities. A DNA lab finally confirmed in May that the remains were indeed those of Brick, getting a 99.9% genetic match with a living relative, according to a press release from the University of Utah. We never stopped hoping for answers about Doug's disappearance, Brick's family said in a statement. We are relieved to finally have some answers. After 52 years, this result, while sad, is nothing short of a miracle. When Major Heather Stuzinger and Detective John Dial took over the case in 2022, all they had was a pile of contradictory leads that went nowhere. Some people theorized that Brick had dropped out and hitchhiked to another town to start his life over. Others thought he might have fled the country. Even when the weathered fragments of a skull was found at the top of Black Mountain, it broke open the case. Through cutting-edge science, the case was actually also closed, sort of. A psychic featured prominently into the investigation, predicting Brick's fate 35 years before his remains were found, according to the release. Now, Brick's mother, Donna, who died in 2010, kept a journal tracking her thoughts and developments in her son's case. An entry she wrote in 1990 describes an uncanny encounter that left a lasting impression on one of the detectives. The heartbroken mom wrote that while she was shopping in a department store in Salt Lake City, she happened to meet a store clerk who said she was a psychic. Yeah, no. I mean, I probably would write that in my journal, but with a lot of expletives, and this is the reason I'm an indoor cat. Maybe you can tell me what happened to my son, Donna then said. He really wants you to find him, the psychic told her, according to the entry. The psychic revealed details that no one would have known at the time about Brick's disappearance. She told Donna that her son had gone to the foothills above the campus, where he had contemplated no longer living. But he became afraid because it was dark. He slipped and fell, according to the release. Those details stuck out to me, Dial said in a statement. Where the skull was located, the terrain I was traversing as part of the search, it was extremely steep and loose on both sides, and I was having a hard time in the daylight keeping my footing under me and figuring out where I was going. Investigators say they still don't know exactly how Brick died. Dial, who flew out to California to tell his family the news, said he had developed a personal connection with Brick during the investigation. In a way, it's hard to explain. There was a push and a connection that felt like it was from Douglas, Dial said in a statement. I felt very strongly, and always have, that Douglas was in the back of my mind, pushing me. For me, I just wanted to bring closure to the family and solve this case so they could have some peace. So, psychic or... Again, look, I'm not saying if there is legitimate psychic, phenomena, but I don't know. I mean, yes, no, but it's probable that she was told many different things. Also, why would you tell his mom? Like, look, I get maybe if you are truly, you can, like the Sixth Sense and I see dead people, then why would you tell the mom, who is obviously heartbroken, that he was considering no longer living? Like, that just seems like if I could talk to all the ghosts and I knew the person was a good person that was grieving, the mom was, I probably wouldn't say that unless the ghost said, hey, no, she was kind of a butthole and I need her to understand the reason I felt this way. But I don't know. Six of one, half a dozen of the other. I mean, was it a psychic or was it, ancestry.com? It does make for an interesting story, not gonna lie. In this is going to bring back Final Form Jesus. We're playing it again because what in the actual HE double hockey sticks is going on? Cheer.
The key keep its grove, thou gloaming shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, Final Form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack listening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Now, what in the name of all that is, you wake up in a bathtub without a kidney is this? A mother dies hours after a vacation starts. When the coroner, opens her up, he realizes that her heart was missing. Now, I'm not a doctorologist or nothing, but between the hospital and the coroner, who took it? Where does a heart go missing? Exactly. How does one just lose it out of their pocket? Now I lose my cell phone everywhere, but it's not attached to me. My heart is. So again, I'm going to need some explanation of this. Turkish officials are not saying definitively what killed a vacationing British mother whose heart was allegedly removed from her chest cavity. Beth Martin, 28, reported feeling ill on her flight from the UK to Turkey and was initially dismissed, as just having food poisoning. However, and unfortunately, within hours of touching down in Istanbul, she grew delirious and was hospitalized. Unfortunately, she passed away the very next day on April 28th. Now, Beth's husband, Luke, claimed Turkish officials were less than forthcoming with him and initially suspected him of poisoning her. He was able to get his wife's body flown back to the UK, where upon, looking at her, UK coroners told him the unimaginable, that Beth's heart had been removed. I would say something, but it's also Turkey, and I don't know. I don't know Turkey. Now, the Turkish Ministry of Health revealed Beth's cause of death was cardiac arrest due to multiple organ failure, but did not go into detail as to what caused the organ failure. The Turkish government further refuted British coroner's claims, insisting that she did not undergo any surgical procedures during a preliminary autopsy at the hospital where she passed. Her family, however, wonders if doctors in Turkey's Marmara University Pendik Education and Research Hospital in Istanbul missed something or may have administered penicillin before learning that she was allergic to the drug. The hospital is now being investigated for Martin's death. It could take coroners in England 6 months to determine what caused her organs to start shutting down. And y'all wonder, Mr. Mo wonders, why I don't travel. I am an inside cat. It is stories like these. That being said, I have no idea how the health system is in Turkey, so I don't know. I don't want to label it as terrible healthcare when I have no personal knowledge of it in just that, dumb American fashion, oh, it's not America, so it's terrible. I don't know. I don't know if Turkey has the best GD hospitals everywhere. But I mean, do what now? They just took the, no heart? Because, again, not a doctorologist, but I'm pretty sure she had it when she went to Turkey. So, that being said, who knows? Well, again, I don't know who needs to hear this, but unless someone comes at you with physical and reasonable, violence, you cannot use your force multiplier against them. So insults, insulting your honor, insulting your car, insulting your house, insulting your mama, you are still not things covered under self-defense. That being said, a Florida doctor was arrested for allegedly firing his force multiplier at teens who tossed cheese at his Range Rover with a quote saying, "They shot at me first."
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I have only 27 questions. And what kind of cheese are we talking? Are we talking like string cheese? Are we talking about cheese slices? And if it's cheese slices, are you peeling off the individual thing before you whack them on cars? I mean, or is it cheese whiz? Are you... I need so much... Why am I questioning the type of cheese? How Midwest am I? I'm like, was it your Gouda? I'm not even from Wisconsin. I'm like, well, you got your Velveeta, you got your shredded cheese, you got your like over here like Bubba from Forrest Gump. And you guys, for the Petty Express, cow ears for Lori the Thunder Cow. Mr. Mo was like, as always, we are on tangent land, but Mr. Mo was like, why? And I was like, it's $1 and for my Thunder Cow bits. And he was like, I love you. You can go ahead and get the headband. And I was like, score, Mr. Mo loves me. And I get a cow headband. He's like, you're the only woman that would not get upset if I came home with a cow headband. Like, if Mr. Mo, for most wives, if Mr. Mo came home with like an entire like cow outfit so I could wear it during Thunder Cow things, I would read absolutely nothing into it. I'd be the happiest Mo ever. Sarah Boone would like a cease and desist. A former Florida Mayo Clinic doctor is now facing felony charges after allegedly firing a force multiplier into a car full of high schoolers who had pelted his Range Rover with cheese. Dr. Bruce Mitchell, 67, was arrested in Ponte Verde Beach Saturday evening after an alarming high-speed car chase that seemingly began with an innocuous prank. Now, 5 student athletes from Jacksonville Private School admitted to police that they'd been throwing cheese from their car at a stoplight. Bless their hearts. I mean, look, high school kids are dumb. This is dumb. Now, and look, my dad is like this. There are some people that, look, my car is my car, do not touch it. So I can get being pissed off at having a Range Rover, having paid for a Range Rover, having bought a Range Rover, and then, stupid idiot moron kids, throwing cheese at you. But then to, go full Samuel L. Jackson and decide to, bust a cap in their behind, I don't know. Now, things escalated when a black Range Rover began bearing down at them after the light had turned green. The Range Rover, identified by cops as Mitchell's, aggressively tailed the teens who had accelerated and swerved between lanes to try to escape. He then allegedly waved a force multiplier out of the Range Rover's window and fired a round in the air, causing the teen driver to stomp on the gas and peel away as fast as he could. The high schooler told the police that he was thinking, I didn't want to die the whole time, while one of his passengers said he was in fear for both his friends and his friends' lives as they frantically called from 911, or from their car to 911. Mitchell allegedly stopped following the teens after police passed them, and he drove off to a different direction before he was stopped by police. Now, the doctor stepped out of his car without being directed, and with officers drawing their weapons and ordering him to surrender before he complied. I then gave loud verbal commands to walk backward with the sound of my voice, responding officer said in an incident report obtained by the Citizen. A Sig Sauer pistol was found in Mitchell's glove box with a loaded magazine on the passenger seat and a spent cartridge lying in the footwell. Just don't talk to anyone. Your defense lawyer is going to plead to you to plead the fifth. Although I think this is dumb and stupid, and yes, I would be pissed off if some stupid kids through cheese. Look, last year, or no, the year before this, we had some little idiot in a golf cart with an M80 and threw it into our lawn. We had a good old crater in our lawn. Now, Mr. Mo saw them and he could have, responded in kind like this man. But there's a reciprocity that index that just doesn't match up here. There is, a escalation thing that is just crazy. And to prove that, after his arrest, Mitchell told the police, quote, "They shot at me first before refusing to speak." Now, no weapons were found in the teen's car. Mitchell is charged with discharge of a weapon from a vehicle and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. He has been released on bond after being booked. Now, the doctor previously served as director of the Hospital of Medicine at Emory University, according to his LinkedIn profile, and served at the Jacksonville Mayo Clinic for 14 years. Yeah, so obviously, parents, teach your children that sometimes, and in this world of jackassery, people are at the end of their patience. So what you might think is a dumb, stupid prank might be someone's very last doggone straw. So do not. I got Look, when I was on Neighborhood in my neighbor, I call it, old bitty bitch book. Sorry, but the Neighborhood on, when I was telling people, hey, tell your kids not to ding dong ditch. This is not in the day and age. You cannot have kids doing this because what was a harmless prank might end in tragedy. We've got people that are on edge. We've got all these stories in the news about, crime being up and everything else. Ding dong ditch at 3 a.m. in the morning and try to destroy some people's property. It's a tragedy in the making. And then when I said this, the women were like, I don't think you need to bring those outlandish, thoughts into this. These are simply kids being kids. And I was like, fine, then don't come to me when some jackass kid decides to do some jackassery at 3 a.m. in the middle of rural Indiana and he gets a freedom seed. Do not come crying to me. Parents, teach your children to respect people. Respect people. And don't mess with people's property. I'm sure you could go do a prank where all of you dressed up as, your teachers or something. You don't need to be throwing cheese on anything. Just, what is going on here? Well, if you like oysters, I have a warning for you. Now, I have made my stance on oysters perfectly clear. They are snot from the sea. I do not get them. I get that some people really like them, but if you have to glug a lumpy gelatinous thing, look, I have had oysters once and only once, and I went to a fancy restaurant that I in no way should have been in because my hillbilly day pass had expired. I will say maybe it was just that, but I don't see the appeal, but I'm a texture person. I don't like it. But if you are an oyster person, the FDA is warning about norovirus in frozen oysters from South Korea. Now, if you don't know what norovirus is, it is, the mouth and butt 24. It's what we usually call the tummy bug. That's a nice thing for it. When all the ferals were young and everyone got the stomach bug, there were days that I wanted to run away and join the circus. I would do any job. I didn't care. That being said, if you don't want to have those kind of flashbacks, don't eat oysters from Korea. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is warning that certain half-shelled oysters that are frozen and harvested raw in South Korea may be carrying norovirus. The agency on Thursday advised restaurants and retailers to dispose of these products. Consumers experiencing symptoms should contact healthcare. So they just I wouldn't eat oysters, but my mom used to make oyster stuffing, which Ugh. Now, I'm a fan of sausage stuffing, so I mean, that is like the one thing I wait all year. Like, don't care about the turkey, don't care about ham. I wouldn't have ham. I'm not a ham person. But like, don't care about the turkey. Just give me a full vat of my stuffing and I'm good. So, I don't know why they used to put oysters in stuffing. I have no idea. It's not, no. Now, we have had a lot of stories that make you want to run away and join the circus, much like, you know, your entire family coming down with norovirus. So I think we need a good one. And this one bout made me cry, but it's so cute. A woman honors her grandfather by naming newborn after him, and his unexpected reaction to the news goes viral. Now, they didn't embed the TikTok into this, but it is on People, so I'm sure you can look it up in between them. Amanda Bellock's relationship with her grandfather, Gabriel Grocki, aka Poppy, was built on unwavering support. At the age of 10, following her parents' divorce, Poppy stepped into a pivotal role in her life, not just as a grandparent, but as a steady source of comfort and care. From delivering home-cooked meals to grabbing bagels together every Sunday, the 87-year-old became a constant in her world. He made sure we always had what we needed, and more than that, he made me feel deeply loved and supported, Belloc 31 told People exclusively. Now, Poppy was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease a little over a decade ago, and the illness has since taken a toll on his physical abilities. He's no longer able to walk or use his hands without shaking. Poppy's passion for gardening was one of the defining features of his life. His backyard was a living masterpiece, filled with everything from tomatoes to kiwi. He had such a gift for it, and it was through him that I developed my own love for plants and gardening. Some of my favorite memories are just watching him work in the yard and learning from him. He gave me so much more than I even realized at the time. Despite being unable to use his green thumb like he used to, Poppy's spirit remained undeterred. True to his nature, he found another outlet for his creativity and love of the outdoors, painting birdhouses. Oh, that's so cute. He didn't let Parkinson beat him. He keeps pushing forward and continues to find things that make him happy. Given their bond and Belloc's admiration for her grandfather, she always knew she wanted to name one of her children after him. He's been such a huge part of my life, truly and absolutely my best friend. So this spring, when Belloc welcomed her first child into the world, she named her Gabriella in honor of Poppy. Naming her daughter after him wasn't just a tribute, but it was a way of ensuring that Poppy's values, love, and legacy would live on in the next generation. The moment that Poppy met his granddaughter was nothing short of powerful. Known for his quiet strength and rare showing of emotion, it was clear that he was visibly moved. Let me see if I can pull it up. You won't be able to hear sound because I don't know why. Oh, oh no, not an old man crying, 'cause I'm gonna lose it. And I will try to figure out why you guys can't hear sound. I have no idea. So she is telling him right now that she was named after him. Oh, let Grandpa hold her. I think it's Parkinson's, but I think he was just shocked speechless. Maybe there's another video of it, but just absolutely beautiful. Getting to share the legacy. I think that's one of the big things that stood out to me when I was watching my daughter graduate this weekend. You know, all these kids, each one of these kids, and it was a loud, raucous, and funny graduation. But all of these kids had so many people behind them. I mean, whether we decided to wear our Sunday best or our best halter top, it really didn't matter. We were all in that gym to support one of these kiddos into, okay, I'm sorry, young adults, not kiddos, young adults who are getting ready to start off in their life. And it just struck me that no matter what you wore or who you were or where you were standing, that we were all there united for a purpose of positivity, of sending these children off to their best lives, whether that be college or a trade school or just going into the workforce. We were all there to, celebrate that, to be together, and to really, make all of these kids feel like they had people behind them. And y'all, we have to, because y'all, I thought I was going to get through this without ugly crying. Y'all, I had made myself a solemn deal because I could not find my waterproof eyeliner to save my soul. Like, could not, just looked everywhere. And I was like, I solemnly swear I am up to no crying. And then they tried to pull a Hallmark movie on me, y'all. They done tried to get me, and they got me. All joking aside, the valedictorian of the class just lost her mother in March to a 10-year battle to cancer. And here is this young woman who has probably experienced one of the most devastating losses that anyone can ever go through, the loss of your mother. I mean, the person that is supposed to teach you all the things and be your source of wisdom. And she was up there being so positive. I mean, y'all, I am not saying this because she was just a positive, bright ray of sunshine. And she is talking about her mom like dying. And I'm over here like, you're not going to get me. You're not going to get me. And she's being all positive and smiling. And this story is so incredibly tragic. And she's talking about her mom's faith and everything like that. So when I say that if the morning news, if all of these stories sometimes gets to you, and thank you so very much for your super chat in the clouds for, well, thank you for all you do. Well, thank you guys for your support, because every day I get on stream and I think about, you guys are probably going to find it really cheesy, but every time I get on stream, I try to think about those streams that really helped me when I was having incredible pain days. When I was at the beginning of just getting hurt and my life seemed just like it had no direction and I didn't know. And for a few minutes, because creators, put out content, made me laugh, made me smile, made me forget, I always want to be that for other people, because the importance of that is, I think, unmeasurable. I mean, how do you measure when someone made you laugh on a day you wanted to cry? How do you measure, someone making you forget for a couple hours that, you monitor your water so you don't have to get up to use the restroom because walking hurts? I mean, that, I always think about Robin Williams when I go on stream too. Robin Williams said, the funniest people are often hiding the darkest pain. And we do that not because we don't think things are serious or things, should be decorum, but we know the price you pay for life is sorrow. But if you can make something funny out of it, something beautiful out of your pain that can help someone else, if you can tell the story of something terrible that happened to you, in a funny way that helps another person, then that's what you do. If you can do that, then you are absolutely great. And Deviants, good luck. I hope it is a painless and quick dialysis, and have a wonderful Memorial Day. And I'm glad I've done that for you, Tammy. Like I said, I always tell you to be kind to yourself, kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat. Because we can be kind, but we're going to call balls and strikes, and we don't deal with stupid. I am going to send you on to my 10 a.m. stream. We will be doing the Petty Express, going into witnesses for the Lori Vallow trial until about noon or 1, depending. You know, it's kind of a loosey-goosey day, so if you need a place to hang out, if you're not going out, or your family's a little bit too much to deal with right now, I get it. I get it. Family is great, family is awesome, but the cleaning up before and after, well, mostly before. I mean, they help pick up after, but it's that stress like, is everything put up? Is everything gotten? So if you need that, come over and hang out with me. I do think Baker's also doing a stream. So there are people streaming if you need time, on the screen to fill your day. Bye, you guys.